Hi guys, so in this video, we are going to cover hierarchical select boxes. So this is the second case of section one in this chapter, updating inputs, right? In the previous videos, we looked at simple uses of updating inputs. So this is the second case, hierarchical select boxes. So here, looking at the app, so this app allows um, interactive drill down across multiple categories. So we have three categories in this app: territory, customer, and order number. So each territory, there's a list of customers, and for each customer, there's a list of orders, right? And once the user makes a selection each category here, then the app prints three columns of table of three columns, right? The quantity ordered and price each and product code. So UI side, if you look at the code on the left, so UI side code is very simple. Three select input functions for each category, and then table output function, right? And the server side, it looks long, but it's not that hard. So um, the first code here, first block, is a reactive function for territory, right? So user selects a territory. So that's the first select input function, right? So this territory is a reactive value. And then once the territory changes, we have this the second block, observe event function, right? So once territory changes, then we have update select input function. It updates the second category, customer select input function, right? It updates that customers list of customers. There's one thing that I want to draw your attention to is this use of unique function and how we access customer name column in this territory reactive value. That's a data frame, right? So we can access a column using the dollar sign from a data frame. So that's a vector, not a table. And we use unique function. Unique function takes a vector, right? So in this case, customer name column, and provides unique values or produce unique values. And I'm going to show you this in the R Studio, how it works. So the second block here updates um, customer, right? And then third block here, so we have reactive value for customer, and so here, the user selects a customer, right? User selects a customer, and then once the customer changes, so fourth block, observe event function. So the event here is the customer. So once the user selects a customer, and so the customer reactive value here changes, then it updates the orders, the list of orders, right? That's the third select input function here, right? And then in the render table function, it filters for the selected order and then prints these three columns. All right, so let's try this in our studio. Okay, so we are going to create a file. So this will be section 1.2. So files, right? So we have section 1.2, and let's select all, delete, shiny app, give me the boilerplate code. There you go. All right, so on the UI side, we have three select input functions. Select input, right? And select input function has one, two, three mandatory arguments, right? So for the, I'm sorry, right? So the first select input, territory, and the territory for the label, and choices again. Here we're using unique function, and we're accessing territory column using this dollar sign, right? We're accessing territory column from sales data frame using dollar sign. Okay, so unique. So let me show you how that works. Oh, so here we need to import the data, right? Um, so where is this data from? Oh, here. Okay, so the data, we need to download the data from this Kaggle sales data um, webpage. Download. So download data set as zip folder. So let's do that. All right, guys. So you need to create an account at Kaggle and download this data set and create data folder and save the data file that you just downloaded from Kaggle in this folder, data folder. All right. So, and then we're going to copy that code and then import the data here, right? And then, and of course, we're using this broom function from the broom package. So if you don't have this package installed yet, then install this package. All right. All right. So Control Enter. All right. So does not exist in current working directory. That's because if you look at right here, right, the the current working directory is not here. It is right here. Okay. So we need to change the working directory. So once you're here, code along 9 in this folder. Let's set this as working directory, and that shows up here, right? Now we can run this code. Control Enter. Right. So sorry about that. So what I'm gonna do, because this is working directory, we need to have this data folder, data, and forward slash. Try again. Control Enter. Okay. Right. So code along 9 data, and is the name same? Sales data sample. Oh, all right. So we don't need that folder name. Sales data sample.csv, sales data sample.csv, right? So, I'm having a little hiccup here because I copied the code um, from the textbook, right? So again, I don't want you to type this. So once your cursor is within the quotation, you can hit tab and it'll give you a list of all the files and folders in the working directory. And remember, we just set um, this, the code along 9 folder as a working directory, which shows up here, right? So when we hit tab within the quotation, it gives us this data folder, right? And then hit tab again. There you go, because that's the only file in data folder. It just automatically uh, enters that in, right? Okay, so Control Enter. There you go. In the environment, we have sales, right? When you click on this right arrow, it gives all the columns, right? So I wanted to show you let's hit tab, choices, and we want to use the unique function. And we want to pass the what is it territory column, right? So sales and then dollar sign, and then it gives you a list of all these columns, right? This is a way to access each column, the dollar sign. So where's the territory? So I'm gonna start typing T. Yeah, territory is there. So this territory, if you look at this, this is not a data frame. This is a vector. Okay, this is a vector, and um, so length of this vector is the same as number of rows, right? So in other words, each element here shows up more than once, likely so, right? So if we want a unique value from this vector, right, then you pass this to unique function. Okay. So could not find function, yeah, because that is from tidyverse package, right? There you go. So there are four different categories. I mean, three categories plus an A. Okay. So that is uh, the choice is here. Where? Here. That's basically what it is. So unique, and then sales and territory. Okay? And then let's do the same, right? So the next one is a unique name, customer. I mean the input ID name, ID, customer name. and then the label customer. Okay, customer name, and then customer, and then here instead of territory, customer name, right? And then the third, this is order. So order number with the space between the two words. Oh, so the other thing is, um, instead of providing values for choices, we have null. So let's check that out, what difference that makes. All right. Okay. So order number, order number, number, and then order number, and the choices, let's put null here. And let's leave this as this and um, see what it does, right? So we know from the textbook, it should be null, but why is it null instead of um, giving the choices, the customer names, right? All right, and then text output and output ID data. All right, so run app. Right, so we can select. All right, so you can see that order number we have null, right? Nothing shows up. Customer, on the other hand, there's a list of unique values for customer, but it does not update when territory changes, right? It does not update. And right, so it makes sense to have null instead of giving choices because this needs to update. I think that is the only difference, right? So on load, it's better to have null, right? Not showing any. And then once higher order category changes, then it gives a choices, right? Okay, so let's update, let's fill in the server function here. All right, so let's start with territory, right? So select territory. So here, territory is a reactive value, right? Curly bracket because it's more than one line. And we want to define, right? So, well, let's start with update. No, not update, right? So what is it? Oh, filter, right? So filter, um, and then territory. So sales is the data frame. Territory is the column. Double equal sign, and then you know, the user choice of territory here. Right. Okay. So filter, sales for the data frame, and then um, it's all uppercase, right? Territory, and then input, and the input ID is this territory all lowercase, right? So did I spell this correctly? Uh, territory. Okay. So once um, user selects territory, then it should update customer, right? So for this, um, we need to use observe event, right? So here we have event expression and handler expression. So once the territory changes, so this reactive value, territory, don't forget the parentheses. Once the territory changes, oh, I'm sorry. So here we need a curly bracket, right? Then it should update select input function. So select input function, um, the session, the first argument, the default values provided. So input ID, right? So that's mandatory. And we need to provide choices, right? So input ID. So this update select input function should refer to What input function? Territory. Oh, not territory. It should update customer, right? So customer name, and then choices will be, again, is the same as this, right? All right. So let's see what it does. So does it update? No, it's doesn't matter what we choose in territory. It does not update. Oh, it does. So land of toys, Japan. Yeah, it does not update, right? So that is because we have made that explicit. So let's put null and see what changes. So let's close and then run app. All right. So now, okay, I did something wrong here. Um, it's supposed to the customer supposed to update, but it doesn't. Aha. All right. So I realized that the customers here should not be all customers from the original sales data set. It should be from the territory, right? Because we want a list of customers within each selected territory, right? So here, instead of sales, territory, and then uh, don't forget the parentheses because this is reactive value. Now, the other thing is, it gets really long, right? The code gets really long. So what you can do here is to make it more readable. We can create this choices vector and then define choices alt dash as that. Okay, so it's basically the same code, but it is more readable, right? So let's reload. So let's see whether this customer list updates. There you go. Yep, it updates, right? Okay, so we keep going. So select territory, and then depending on the territory selected, um, customer customers update, right? Now select customer, right? So that will be customer. But that's an arbitrary name, but I just want to be consistent with the textbook code, so we don't get confused. So yeah, customer. That's what he named. So again, be active, curly bracket, and filter, and then here we are supposed to use territory instead of sales. Let's not make the same mistake. So territory. Don't forget um, parentheses. It's reactive value, right? And then um, so customer name, customer name. So let's make sure that so let's close this app for now. Uh, there's order name. Yep, customer name. So it looks like I typed it correctly. And then input. What's the input? That. All right. So that's reactive value. And then once the customer selects the customer, then we should update. Update what? Update the third, the orders input, right? So again, observe event, and the event is once the customer reactive value here, because once the customer changes, do this, right? So do what? Update select input, right? Again, forced argument session, it has a default um, default value given. So we need to provide input ID and then choices, right? So hit tab, input ID. So we need to refer to what input we are updating. We're updating this, right? Orders. And then choices will be unique. And so customer, within the customer, and we want to access what order number. Now, again, it gets really long. So we want to create choices. Okay. Oh, we deleted this. Um, we cut that closing parentheses, the matching closing parentheses for this one, right? For update select input. So we want to define choices here, right? Okay. So let's examine this again. So once we select territory, customer list updates. And once we select customer, does it update? Did it? Yep. Numbers changing. Very good. Okay. So now we want to, right. So let's close the app for a while. Now what we want to do is what? Render output. So now we're ready to create this data output, right? So now, so output data. Now matching function for text output is render text. Hold on. Do we want? Is that what are we providing? I mean creating. Oh, it's a table, right? So not text because we're creating this table of three columns, right? So it's table output, not text output, right? So render table, and also here it's not text, table output, right? All right. So hit tab. So all right. So here. So we just need to filter and select so that we create this table of three columns, but then we need to filter for whatever whatever the order that the user selects. So we have the filter function and the select function, and that is from this customer reactive value. Okay, and there's a require function. Okay, so let's look at that in a minute. So first, um, let's forget about require function, and also we need a curly bracket because the line runs more than a single line. So customer reactive value, and then we want to filter for um, the order, selected order, order name, right? Order name or order number. So input and what's the input? Order number, right? So if we were to run this, right? So let's try this. So it already prints. It already prints the data. So that's why. And also the other thing is it has more than three columns that we wanted, right? So first, let's add select function. Hold on. Why is this? Oh, we are putting the select function in the wrong place. Select. So what are the columns we want? Quantity ordered. You know what? I'm, I want to make sure that I spell this correctly. So I'm going to sales and then limbs. So what's the column's name? Quantity ordered. Price each. Product code. Quantity ordered. Up right there. Quantity ordered. Control V, and then price each, and product code. Right. So run the app again. There you go. Three columns, right? Now the author, our textbook code has this required, right? Require order number. So in other words, do not print the table until user selects order number, right? So let's do that. Require input order number, right? So let's reload. It is still order number. Oh, I see. So we have order number here already. Because we want require, so we don't want this to show up here. So we need require function one more place. So as you can see here, customer does not. So we don't want customer value. So this is select customer, right? So it shouldn't have a value until um, customer makes a choice for this customer category. So here we put require input and then customer. That's the input ID. So double click to select. Oh, customer name, right? Customer name. Again, just to be sure, double click, and then it should put them in rectangle. All right, so reload to see what changes. Okay, so customer still shows up. Hmm, is there require? So we got require here. You know what, guys? I'm not really sure what difference this require function makes. Um, I'm not seeing any difference, before and after adding this require functions in line 27 and 39. Well, if you guys figure out, what the difference is, please let me know. I'll see you in the next video.